Easy peasy. Just completely change your perception of yourself, and there you have it. Welcome to the Black Mother Wound podcast, where we center the stories of Black women as we heal from the painful relationships with our mothers. Welcome back to the Black Mother Wound podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Arnise. How is everyone doing today? I hope that you've been taking care of yourself in every way possible. I hope that you are being tender with yourself. I'm hoping that you have been giving yourself grace, that you have been understanding, that you are practicing healthy boundaries, and that you're asking for help, and that you are nurturing and tending to your inner little girl and doing the things that she feels are best for her. Okay? That is what I hope you've been doing this past week. If not, I'm going to need you to get on that, okay? In the most gentle and loving way. I am talking about this because I have really had to double down on my practices over the last few weeks because life is lifing and we have responsibilities and we have goals and we have all types of stuff that got to get done, But you know what? I'm going to stop saying about what got to get done. Some things have to get done. Some things can wait till later. And so I have been learning what absolutely has to get done, what can wait until later, and what someone else can do, right? So that has given me the space to take care of my number one priority, which is my mental and emotional health, right? And my sanity. So I'm bringing this up because this is a question that I get a lot. And it is, one, can you actually heal your mother wound? And how long does it take to heal, right? It's like, what is the end point? And the answer to the first question is yes, you can absolutely heal your mother wound. The answer to the second question, how long it takes as long as it takes. And in order to heal, you have to have a consistent practice of being good to yourself. So much of the things that I talk about are, they're rooted in how we can love ourselves more. And so the only way that I've been able to manage the last 6 weeks with resolve, we're moving into the week 6, being a full-time mom, having a full-time job, and we're moving. Not only moving out of this house, but buying a house and moving to a whole new state. All of this is happening at the same time, right? Oh, and recording podcasts and answering questions online and running my business. This has only become possible because of the way that I take care of myself. My productivity used to be tied to being stressed out, overworked, exhausted, isolated, frustrated, hypercritical of everything I was doing and myself. And now my productivity is directly related to how good I am to myself. That is the baseline. That is the foundation of me growing my business, of me being able to show up for work, showing up for my son. It's because I'm showing up for myself. And one of, is this one of? Okay, I'm going to say one of. It's not going to be the only, but I'm going to say the first thing that is going to further you along in your healing goal is prioritizing yourself. And in order to prioritize yourself, there has to be a shift in your thinking. in who is it? Marianne Williamson talks about this in A Course in Miracles, that healing is really a change in perception. If you were raised in the church, oftentimes healing means, you can go from not being able to walk to walk, to, or the blind can now see. If you're looking in from a medical perspective, healing is, oh, if someone has a disease, now they no longer have the disease. Like they broke their leg and now the leg has healed, it's no longer broken. Oftentimes that is the healing that we are looking for in emotional healing, and it's not the same way. And I want to really kind of help you understand how I see healing and how it has worked for me. Okay, this is according to Jennifer Arnise. The change in perspective is how you heal, because the answers are always around you. The choices are always around you. The support is always around you. But because of a traumatized perception, we cannot see those things. We can't access those things. There are certain things that have always been true that at one point in my life, I couldn't see them as true. I've always been qualified to do the work that I do in my day job, but I didn't believe it. So was working a job making $18 an hour with a child in Atlanta, in the last 5 years. Okay, when my perception shifted through doing mother wound healing work, I was able to see my skill sets differently. That's a perception shift. That is healing. So I want you to look at, what does it mean to be healed? What does it mean to know that you are actually healing yourself from your mother wound? What are the indicators? Are they financial indicators? Are they relationship indicators? Are they body fitness indicators? And you can have a better body, you can have more money, you can have more friends and not be healed. If you don't have those things, if you don't feel like you belong, if you're not able to ask for help, if you are struggling in any area of your life, and it might not be money, you might be somebody who's able to get to the bag very easily. That's nothing for you. But maybe you're struggling with feeling fulfilled in what you do. Those right there can become your indicators of healing. You don't heal because of that. Those are the byproduct. Let me tell you why I heal. I heal because I wanted to feel better. I wanted to feel at peace. I wanted to feel calm. I didn't want to be anxious all the time. I didn't want to be second guessing myself all the time. I didn't want to always be criticizing myself. I didn't want to feel so lonely, right? And I realized that all of that was a me thing. Okay. So if you are out here and you think healing is about other people changing, other people doing something differently, then you in the wrong spot, sis, because that really is not it. That's a victim mentality, right? This is about 100% responsibility. This does not let anybody off the hook for what they did. What they did is what they did. The question is, what are you going to do? So through doing the work over many, many years, my perception is I can do less and have more. I can be myself and still be accepted. I can ask for help and not be a burden. I can be wrong and still be credible. Like, all of these things can be true. I can work slower and get more done. But all of this has become possible because I'm now more able to regulate my nervous system. And when you can regulate your nervous system, you can perceive differently. When you can perceive differently, you can take on different actions and choices. Those different actions and choices will yield different results. When you see those results, those are the results. Those are the evidence of your healing. So if you want to know, am I healing? Look at your life. How is your life changing? How do you feel about yourself? What are you willing to do? What are you not willing to do? Even if you're uncomfortable and you're scared, what do you say? I think that I could try that. I think I could do that. I'm willing to be bad at that because I know even if I'm bad at something, I'm still valuable. It doesn't mean that, all is lost. And I'm saying these things because I think we need some tangible moments and predictors that we can hold on to that will allow us to be consistent in this healing journey, because it is long. It is not a race, it is a journey. And sometimes it gets lonely, sometimes it gets hard, especially when we're in that gray space, when we've let one thing go, but the thing that we want to replace it hasn't really settled in. So it's just kind of murky. And we like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? Why does it feel like this? Doesn't feel like healing, right? This feels like agony. But if you're understanding what your new perception will be, then you can keep your eye focused on that, and you can stay consistent with the things that you need to be doing in order to heal. And those things all begin with how you treat yourself. They all begin with how you treat yourself. And the issues you have with treating yourself better is that you don't even recognize you treat yourself like shit, because everything you think is true. You believe everything you think. You think you're dumb. You think you're ugly. You think you're unqualified. You think nobody loves you. And you believe all these things are true. You believe there's no resource for you. There's no support for you. You think and believe that it's too late for you. You think that you can't be happy, or there's a cap on what you can have, or you have to change this thing about you in order to feel love, but that thing cannot be changed. So therefore it's hopeless. And you believe all of these things. And I think that's the hardest part for me doing this work is I be really wanting to shake the shit out of y'all. Like, you believe a lie. You're believing lies. But I can't, and I'm always trying to figure out a way, a better way, a more convincing way, a more efficient way to convince you that there's another option, and that you have to be so open-minded. This work requires you to put everything that you believe, that you think is true, and put it on the table and run the test on everything. And that shit is very hard because so much of your identity is wrapped around your trauma. Because if you think about having the Black mother wound, the impact of the relationship between you and your mother started at fucking birth, right? Whether she was there or she was absent, that relationship or lack thereof still started so early in your life. So it's been the thread that has been running through your entire development, and your perception, again, that word, your perception of yourself. The Black mother wound is really rooted in how the Black mother sees her daughter. And that teaches the daughter how she sees herself. Healing is all about how you see. how you see yourself. Because if you can see yourself as you really are, which is whole, able, loved, capable, credible, amazing, valued, all of those things, then you can see the world differently and you can make different choices. But if you cannot change the way you see yourself, nothing else is going to change. And anything you do that might be different is not going to be sustainable, because you're going to bounce back to the old you. And that is, that's the work we do in Resolve. My group program is really like taking you through every level of your being and showing you where your mother wound shows up in that way, right? So we can put a new thread. We can enter the thread of worthiness, the thread of safety, the thread of love. We can enter all these new threads and weave a new fabric of who we are. And I do that through spiritual work. I mix spiritual work, psychology, I mix religion, not just Christianity, my lived experience, my street experience. I pull from so many things, right? Resolve currently, we do a healing program that works through the 7 chakras. So I'm just going to put this, I don't even think it's a disclaimer, but I have come to find out that I didn't even know this was a thing. This is an old side rant. If your Christian faith prohibits you from believing in chakras, meditation, spiritual work, then you probably won't like my course unless you're open-minded. But I am putting that out there, that this is what I teach is not church-based. I don't think it conflicts with Christianity, but some people do feel that way. So, but anyway, that is the work that we do in Resolve. It is really going through every step of your being, right? Physical safety, creativity, intuition, relationships, communication, intuition, connection with higher powers, right? Learning to see ourselves differently in all aspects of our humanity allows us to make the changes necessary. So the perception of who we are, the world around us, and how we fit in changes. That is healing. That's what healing is. And if you look at it like that, I know I'm like, I shrug my shoulders, right, for all the audio listeners, like, easy peasy. Just completely change your perception of yourself, and there you have it. It's not easy. I know that, but it's healing. It is the work. To me, it's harder to stay where you are. I didn't like being miserable. I didn't like feeling unworthy of love. I didn't like not being able to manage my emotions. I didn't like feeling like an outsider all the time. I didn't feel like I wanted to distrust myself forever. It takes a lot out of you to not trust yourself, to not believe in yourself, to think that you're alone, to think there's nobody there for you, to believe that you have to be perfect in order to be loved. It is fucking exhausting. Okay? And anything is better than that. And I think that's the point that you have to be at. You got to be at like, I'm willing to lay it all on the line, because the way that I feel about myself is emotionally and mentally crushing me, and possibly even physically crushing you. And when you look at it like that, why does it matter how long it takes? The sooner you get started, the sooner you're going to be on your way. But like, what else do you have to do? What else would you do if you don't heal, right? But I need you to understand that healing is just a change in perception. So I want you to practice this week, like, what's something you can change your perception of? And don't make it all big, It could be like, I guess I could see that differently. And think about something. No, I'm not going to tell you to do that. I was about to say, think of something you can't change your perception on and try to test that. But no, because y'all dig in when y'all believe something. Whew, can't nobody tell y'all nothing. But what is something small that you can change your perception on? And see what that feels like to you. Feel the resistance and breathe through it and ask yourself, why do I need to believe that this is true? It's one thing if it's been my experience. Oh, up until this point, this has been my experience. Is it possible I can have a different experience? Okay. What would I have to give up to have that experience? What type of thoughts would I have to give up to have a different experience? What type of emotions would I have to give up? And what type of emotions would I have to have in order to have the experience of that thing being different? And how would my life change if I saw that thing different? How would my life change for the better? And that's how you decide, is it worth it? It's like, oh, then you got to be honest with yourself when you're like, you know what? It would be great, but I don't want to do the work. I don't want to give up whatever it is I have, because there's always a payoff to the way that we think and the way we perceive things. There's always a payoff. So you might decide, I don't want to give up X, whether it's a thing or a person or opportunity or a condition, whatever it is. It's a crutch. I mean, let me tell you that it is a crutch, but you decide you don't want to give up that crutch. You know, people have lived with that crutch forever and you want to be one of them. Cool. But just be honest about it. Don't be out here acting like you're doing something that you're really not doing. Because healing requires you put it all on the line. Because when your perception about one thing changes, it causes another thing to change. It's like a ripple effect. It's like a domino. Okay. It's like a snow. What's that thing? An avalanche, right? So I can just make it real scary for y'all. But it goes to the next thing. You don't just change one perception and that's it, because everything is tied together. And that's where you got to be really brave, because you're pulling that old thread out, and that fabric that was created out of your trauma, out of your abandonment, out of rejection, out of shame, is going to just turn into a bunch of colors and threads all over the place. And you've got to really be prepared to create a new fabric, right? And I'm not suggesting you do that alone. We have an amazing program in Resolve. My one-on-one coaching is, I love watching the light bulb go off in my clients' heads and supporting them through their healing process. But even if it's not me, find something in someone where you can be supported in your healing process. Because what I do know is you cannot do it by yourself. That part I know for a fact. So that was my rant on healing, because I think we really need to clarify, especially when it's being compared in medical ways and it's being compared in religious ways mostly. And so I want to show it in a mental, emotional way, like what healing looks like, even though my frame of reference is a metaphysical reference from A Course in Miracles. I have found this to be true for me. So that is what I have for you on that. Yeah, I guess that's it. Think about it. Consider it. I feel like you need to listen to this episode a couple times to really let it sink in. So there's nothing wrong with that, child. Put it on while you're taking a bath, while you're on your way to work, while you're cleaning the kitchen. But yes, that is all that I have for y'all today. I appreciate you. And I will see you next week. Remember, subscribe, like, share, comment, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite podcast platform. I will see you guys later. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Black Mother Wound podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and make sure you comment, subscribe, and rate the show. You can keep the conversation going over on IG at Black Mother Wound, and click the link in the show notes to download the free Mother Wound Healing Guide. See you next week.